What's going on, CrossFit Federal Way? It is time for week number 4 of the Backyard Battle Royale. So, announcing our workout today. Today's going to look a little bit different than some of the other workouts that we've done leading up to this point. And bear with me as I'm shooting these videos solo this week. So, dealing with a stationary camera. Hopefully I'm in frame and all that stuff. But there might be a little more cuts and edits this week just based on how I have to go about shooting this and the movement standards. So again, bear with me. Now, looking at the board. The name of this week's workout is going to be two-hand touch. It has the potential to be upwards of a 15-minute workout or less if you work really hard. Now, the way that this breaks down, there will be 3 different sections. Each will have a 5-minute designated amount of time, but you have to complete the work that's done in each section before you can move on to the next one. And if you don't complete or fail to complete the rounds or the work that's set out for you in each section, your workout ends there. So let's just say, for example, at 3, 2, 1, go, from 0 to 5 minutes on the clock, I have to complete 3 rounds. If I'm doing this prescribed, it'll be 10 single arm dumbbell push press. That is 10 reps total. You can break them up however you want between right and left. You can do all one side. It doesn't matter, just 10 reps total. 10 toes to bar, and 10 alternating dumbbell snatch. Now, for our prescribed athletes, that will be a 50-pound dumbbell for guys and a 35-pound dumbbell for gals. For our scaled athletes, that will be a 35-pound dumbbell for guys and a 20-pound dumbbell for the ladies. And then your toes to bar for scaled are going to be hanging knee raises for all of the toes to bar across this workout. Now, I've got 5 minutes to complete those 3 rounds of 10, 10, and 10. If and when I complete my 3 rounds, anytime under 5 minutes, my clock extends from 5 minutes to 10, and I immediately start the next section. So if I finish those 3 rounds, from my clock then extends to 10 minutes, so from 5 to 10. Again, it says 5 to 10 here on the board. You do not have to rest until the start of the next 5 minutes in order for you to move on. You just accrue more time, more opportunity. So as this workout gets harder and things get a little bit more challenging as each section builds, you're gonna want that extra time. That means you should be working hard and fast from the get-go in order to try to buy as much time as possible for as these movements get a little more challenging. So when we finish the first 3 rounds here in under 5 minutes, we immediately move into 3 rounds again of 10 single arm dumbbell thrusters. Same weight. You're going to see 50-pound dumbbells across the board and 35-pound dumbbells across the board for RX, 35 and 20 across the board for scaled. But 10 single arm dumbbell thrusters, again, total repetitions. You can break them up however you want to between right and left. If you're looking to be as efficient as possible, I would recommend do all of them on one side for 1 round, all of them on one side for the next, and then maybe half and half on the last round, or just stick to whatever your strong side is. So I know that that's unbalanced and that would drive some people crazy. If you're one of those people that loves to have your workouts balanced, then break them up. Go 5 on right, 5 on left, or left and then right, whatever, however you want to do it. Every single time, that way you have a balanced workout. But anyway, 10 single arm dumbbell thrusters, 10 toes to bar, and 10 single arm alternating devil's press. Again, we will talk about the movement standards and what these look like here in a moment. Again, I have up until the 10-minute mark to get through that 3 rounds. When I finish my 3 rounds here before 10 minutes, anytime under 10, I earn more work. So this is one of those workouts where you are rewarded for doing well with more work. Super fun. Anyway, we go into 3 more rounds. It now will be 10 for our prescribed athletes, 10 handstand push-ups, 10 toes to bar, and 10 devil press. This time the devil press is 2 dumbbells. So 2 50-pound dumbbells for guys, 2 35-pound dumbbells for gals at the end. Same thing for our scaled athletes, 2 35s and 2 20s. And then as far as the handstand push-ups go, that will be a strict standing dumbbell press. So you're not allowed to use your legs. It's all shoulders at that point. Because of the shoulder fatigue, they will still be challenging. Same thing for those of us going to handstand push-ups, doing things prescribed. Again, I have up until 15 minutes to get as far as I can. Now, if I finish all 9 rounds under that 15-minute time cap, my score is going to be the total time that it took me to finish those 9 rounds. If I do not finish those rounds, then my score will be the number of repetitions that I completed get to a certain time, or any of those cutoffs. Now, it could be that I don't finish my first 3 rounds in 5 minutes, which should be unlikely. Most of us should be able to finish and move on to at least the second section. But if I don't finish my 10-10-10 of my 3 rounds at the beginning, then when I hit 5 minutes on that clock, my time is done. My workout is over. If you're doing this workout without it being part of the competition, if you're just doing it for a normal workout, if you hit the 5-minute cap, start off prescribed and see if you can stick to this structure. But if you hit the 5-minute cap and you're just doing it as a Saturday workout, then turn this into a 15-minute AMRAP. Try to get as far, or not AMRAP, but 15-minute cap, see how far you can get, however many reps you can finish. That way you get a better workout. But if you're doing this for the competition, you have to adhere to that strict cutoff times for each section. So that is what we're getting into for our workout. Let's go talk about some movement standards. All right, athletes, for our toes to bar standards, these are something that most of us have done plenty of. We know what the standard itself is, but from a hanging position on that pull-up bar, I'm going to bring my toes up to touch that bar with my toes between my hands. Both toes have to make contact with that pull-up bar at the same time. So just to demonstrate a few different movements here. From that hanging position, I'm going to think about big drive. My heels need to pass behind the vertical plane of the bar. So my heels should start behind the bar. And then from here, I'm just tucking in, bringing my toes up to touch. Again, same time in terms of contact for those toes. If I get kind of a delayed tap, let's see if I can make myself do this one wrong. So from here, if I get a delayed tap, I can't even do it. Anyway, that wouldn't count because one of my feet did not touch. But if I get a tap tap, that would be a no rep. And again, this being on the honor system, I'm trusting you guys that if you do a rep improperly and you know it, give yourself a no rep, do another repetition. If we were doing this with a judge, or if this was in the open, then it would be something that we would find ourselves getting no reps on, and we'd be held to that higher standard anyway. We should be training to that standard all the time. So, and for our scaled athletes, it's just gonna be a hanging knee raise. The hanging knee raise, hips should be open at the bottom of the, or when you're at the bottom of the knee raise itself, when you're at full extension, hips should be open, heels still pass behind the vertical plane of the bar, and then I'm gonna bring my knees up to my chest, and I have to get my knee higher than my hip crease. If I'm only getting partway up, and my knee stays lower than my hip crease, then that rep doesn't count. So again, hanging from the bar, I'm just gonna be thinking about bringing my knees up, opening my hips all the way at the bottom for each of those hanging knee raises for our scaled athletes. So that is our toes to bar and our hanging knee raise. All right, so the first movement that we're going to talk about is our single arm dumbbell push press. Now, while I will need 2 dumbbells for this workout, but only for the last 3 rounds of this workout, I'm only going to use the 1 for those first 6 rounds before we get to the last 3. So I'll set 1 aside for now. For the dumbbell push press, that dumbbell is going to start, it has to be making contact, at least one head of the dumbbell, contact with your shoulder. From here, chest is up nice and tall. I can dip and drive, so using my legs, and then pressing up, making sure that my arm is straight up overhead. I'm not off to the side. I'm not out in front as I'm doing that push press. So even though this might feel like I'm doing something, I'm not really getting to that balanced position straight overhead. When my rib cage is down, belly is tight, everything else is in a good solid position. I've got plenty of control with that dumbbell over my head. Again, this is 10 reps. You can break it up however you want, but I'm making sure that I'm finishing tall and squeezing my elbow at the top of every single rep for that dumbbell push press. For the alternating dumbbell snatch, you guys know this one. It's going to be the same finish position as that dumbbell push press, but with this, now both heads of the dumbbell must start on the floor. So every single time both heads will touch the ground, I'm going to reach down and grab that dumbbell. From here, I'm going to think about a big jump and then punch up. So I'm gonna snatch that dumbbell overhead. It's alternating, so I have to switch hands every single rep. So I can either switch on the way down, both heads touch, every single time, or I can switch by bringing my hand down, changing hands, and then back up to that locked out position overhead. Either way, I would highly recommend, if you're not used to cycling by switching hands on the way down, practice a little bit before this workout. Every second counts in workouts like this, and while the reps are very manageable at sets of 10, toes to bar, are gonna feel fatigued. Hanging knee raises, maybe not so much. I don't know that our scaled athletes are going to struggle as much to make it through this one, but in testing this out, this was not an easy workout to maintain that pace and make sure that you're actually getting into where you can do all 15 minutes of this workout. So some of us will be able to like full send and really attack this thing and set a very competitive time. Others, the movements are gonna get hard. The fatigue in your shoulders and other things like that is going to be ever present. So be ready for that. Now, next thing we're gonna talk about is our single arm dumbbell thrusters. So with the single arm thruster, just like with the single arm push press, I can break it up between right and left however I want. Now, the front rack position is the same thing as the push press. One head of the dumbbell has to be touching my shoulder. It does not matter where I put that dumbbell, how I position it, whatever, as long as one head is making contact. From here, putting an arm out to your side to help counterbalance can help, but I'm gonna squat down, make sure I'm hitting depth, and then jump that dumbbell off my shoulders and finish in a good solid lockout position, just like everything else that we're taking overhead. So again, cycling that, bringing it back down, and then back up to overhead, working on those single arm dumbbell thrusters. Pretty straightforward. Hip crease needs to pass below the top of your knee, just like any other squat, and make sure when you're at the top, everything's locked out to ensure that we're showing control at the top of each rep. From there, we go to a single arm alternating double press in those same 3 rounds. Now, the double press itself, think of these as burpees on steroids. I'm going to still have my one dumbbell down, and I am switching hands every time, so similar to that transition on the dumbbell snatch. But now I'm gonna burpee first. So chest and thighs hit the ground, dumbbell is in my hand. I'm gonna come up and then treat this like a kettlebell swing. I'm coming all the way up to overhead. The only caveat with the double press, the dumbbell cannot touch your shoulder. So you can't end up cleaning and jerking it or clean and press or whatever. That can't happen. It has to be one smooth motion all the way up to overhead, just like the dumbbell snatch, without it touching your shoulder in order for that double press to count. I'm gonna switch hands on the way down, burpee, and coming all the way up to that finished position overhead. Again, 10 reps there. On the double press, make sure that you aren't holding your breath. Very, very easy movement to end up holding your breath, spiking your heart rate, and making it challenging to hold a pace and stay consistent so you can make it through those 3 rounds and on to the last section of the workout. All right, the next thing is going to be the standard devil press with 2 dumbbells. So let's put that back in. I've got both my dumbbells, and it's the same idea as the regular devil press. From here, I am doing a burpee, so chest and thighs are gonna touch the ground. I'm gonna grab my dumbbells. Burpee. Coming up, now I'm gonna swing both all the way up to overhead in one smooth motion. Again, can't touch your shoulders. This time you can just come right back down. Set your dumbbells down. In this case, my dumbbells are too narrow. My chest can't touch the floor. So I need to make sure that my chest can still make contact before coming up and into that extension at the top. So that is our devil press. The last thing to talk about is going to be our handstand push-ups. All right, you guys. So for our handstand push-ups, the big things to think about here, we also do, I will talk about the scaled version being the dumbbell, the standing strict dumbbell press as well. But the big thing here is going to be making sure that we hit full extension at the top. There is no line to get your heels over. There is no box, even though this mat has a box down on it. There's no box to keep your hands in. So you can do your handstand push-ups however you best prefer to do your handstand push-ups. The standard is your head has to come down and make contact with the ground, and then you're gonna kip or do a strict handstand push-up, and in order to get your arms fully locked out. When we look at the finished position for the handstand push-up itself, what I'm looking for is, again, I want the head to come down and make contact with the floor. So the push-up itself starts at the top. I'm at full extension already. The only thing touching the wall is my heels. I'm gonna come down, head's gonna touch the floor, and then I kick myself back up in order for that handstand push-up to count. I need to find extension with my arms, and then I'm back in a position where the only thing making contact with the wall is my heels on the wall. I'm not resting my butt against the wall or anything else like that. So as long as that finished position looks solid, then we would be good to go on all of those handstand push-ups. Now for the standing strict dumbbell press, since we've got 2 dumbbells, I'm just taking those dumbbells up to my shoulders. From here, it's just a strict press. I can't dip and drive and use my legs. I need to think about driving up and finding that solid lockout position overhead with those with that strict overhead press. If I'm doing scaled, the scaled version of this workout. So that should, for the most part, cover all of our movement standards. If you have any questions or anything of that nature, please don't hesitate to ask me or any of our other coaches. Again, it's week 4, guys. Let's get after it.